The first time Elias crashed on my couch. I didn't think much of it, just my brother's friend. Down on his luck, needing a place to stay. But by the third night, when his crooked smile caught the moonlight streaming through my Brooklyn apartment window, I knew I was in trouble. Every laugh, every glance, felt like a spark I couldn't put out, and I wasn't sure I wanted to. My name's Caleb, 26, a graphic designer scraping by in Bushwick, where the rent's high and the walls are thin. My tiny apartment, with its mismatched furniture and flickering lights, wasn't built for guests, let alone someone like Elias, 25, Puerto Rican, with a grin that could stop traffic and a past he didn't talk about. He was my brother Marcus's best friend from high school, the kind of guy who'd charm his way out of anything but never let you see him sweat. Marcus, 28, was back in Albany, working as a nurse, leaving me to deal with his stray friend who'd shown up with a duffel bag and a vague story about needing a break from the city. That first night, Elias sprawled across my couch like he owned it, his long legs dangling over the armrest. "Thanks for this, man," he said, his voice low, almost shy. "I owe you." I shrugged it off, tossing him a spare blanket, but his eyes lingered a second too long, and my pulse tripped over itself. I told myself it was nothing, just exhaustion from a long day. But when I caught him humming a salsa tune while brewing coffee the next morning, shirtless and at ease in my kitchen, I felt the ground shift. This wasn't just Marcus's friend anymore. This was trouble. Elias didn't leave after that first night. He'd linger after breakfast, cracking jokes about my terrible taste in cereal or offering to fix the leaky faucet I'd ignored for months. I'd come home from work to find him sketching on napkins intricate cityscapes, all sharp lines and hidden depth, like he was trying to map out something bigger than Brooklyn. "You're good," I said once, peering over his shoulder. He laughed, brushing it off, but his fingers tightened around the pencil, and I wondered what he wasn't saying. By day 5, I was used to his presence, the way his laughter filled the apartment, the way his cologne clung to the air. But I wasn't ready for the questions. "You ever been in love, Caleb?" he asked one night, sprawled on the floor with a beer in hand, the city lights painting his face in soft blues. I froze, my heart hammering. Once, I lied, dodging the truth. I'd never let myself go there. Not really. Growing up black and queer in a small upstate town didn't exactly scream romance. I'd learned to keep my walls up, to play it safe. But Elias, he was a wrecking ball. The tension built slowly, like a storm you don't see coming. He'd brush past me in the narrow hallway, his shoulder grazing mine, and I'd catch myself holding my breath. One night, he cooked arroz con pollo, insisting I try it. "My mom's recipe," he said, his voice softer than usual. We ate on the balcony, the city humming below, and when his knee bumped mine under the table, neither of us moved away. I told myself it was nothing, but my heart was screaming something else. Then came the night that changed everything. It was late, maybe 2 a.m., and I found him on the couch, staring at the ceiling, his usual grin gone. "You okay?" I asked, sitting on the coffee table across from him. He didn't answer right away, just looked at me, his dark eyes searching mine. "I left because I couldn't stay," he said finally, his voice raw. "My family, they don't get me. Not the real me." I knew what he meant without him saying it. The weight of it hung between us, heavy and unspoken. I wanted to reach out, to tell him I got it, but fear glued me in place. Instead, I said, "You're safe here." It was all I could manage, but it felt like a vow. His smile returned, small but real, and when he leaned forward, his hand brushing mine, I didn't pull away. The air crackled, and for a moment, I thought he might kiss me. He didn't, but the possibility lingered, dangerous and alive. Days turned into weeks, and Elias became a fixture in my life. He'd tag along to my favorite diner, teasing me about my obsession with their greasy fries. We'd walk the Brooklyn Bridge at sunset. His stories about growing up in the Bronx weaving through the noise of the city. I learned he dropped out of art school, that he dreamed of opening a gallery someday, that he carried guilt like a second skin. I ran from everything. He admitted one night, his voice barely above a whisper. My family. My truth. I thought it'd be easier out here. I wanted to tell him he didn't have to run anymore. But I was still running from myself. I'd spent years hiding who I was, convincing myself I didn't need love, didn't deserve it. But Elias was unraveling me, piece by piece, with every late-night talk, every shared glance. I was falling, and I didn't know how to stop. One evening, we ended up at a queer bar in Williamsburg, dragged there by my friend Lena, a 30-year-old bartender with a knack for meddling. The place was alive with music and laughter, and Elias fit right in, dancing with a freedom I envied. When he pulled me onto the floor, his hands warm on my waist, I forgot how to breathe. You're not half bad, Caleb, he teased, his lips close to my ear. I laughed, but my heart was a mess, tangled in the heat of his touch. Later, outside the bar, the air cool against our skin, he stopped me. Why do you keep holding back? He asked, his voice steady but searching. I didn't have an answer, not one I could say out loud. The truth was, I was terrified of wanting him, of losing him, of what it meant to let myself feel. But his eyes held mine, and for the first time, I didn't look away. That night, back at my place, we stood on the balcony, the city sprawling below us. He reached for my hand, his fingers threading through mine, and I let him. I'm scared too, he whispered, and that was a damn broke. I kissed him, soft at first, then desperate, like I'd been starving for years, and he was the only thing that could fill me. His hands found my face, and the world fell away, leaving just us, two hearts beating against the weight of everything we'd been afraid to say. But trouble has a way of finding you, even in moments like that. The next morning, Marcus called. Elias still crashing with you? He asked, his voice casual but sharp. He's got a habit of leaving messes behind. I laughed it off, but the word stuck, a warning I couldn't shake. Elias wasn't just crashing on my couch, anymore was crashing into my life. And I wasn't sure either of us was ready for the fallout. Weeks later, the tension wasn't just between us, it was everywhere. Elias's past started catching up. A late-night call from his sister in the Bronx. Her voice thick with worry, hinted at trouble he hadn't shared. He's running from something, she said, and I didn't press. But the questions piled up. Why was he really here? What was he hiding? I wanted to trust him, but doubt crept in, cold and relentless. One night, it all came to a head. Elias came home late, his eyes red, his usual charm replaced by something brittle. I need to tell you something, he said, sitting me down. My stomach twisted, bracing for the worst. He told me about his ex, a guy named Javier, who'd left him broken, who'd made him question everything. I didn't think I could feel again, he said, his voice cracking. Not until you. I wanted to believe him, but fear whispered that I was just a stop on his way to somewhere else. The next day, I found a letter tucked into his sketchbook, half finished, addressed to his parents. I'm not what you wanted, it read, but I'm still your son. My heart ached for him, for the weight he carried alone. I wanted to fix it, to carry it with him, but I didn't know how. Instead, I waited, giving him space, hoping he'd let me in. The turning point came on a rainy afternoon, when we ended up at a small art gallery in Dumbo. Elias's eyes lit up at the paintings, and for the first time, I saw him unguarded, dreaming out loud about his own work. I want to make something that matters, he said, his voice fierce. I took his hand, right there in the gallery, and told him he already had. His smile was worth every risk I'd taken. But life doesn't pause for perfect moments. Marcus showed up unannounced. His nurse's scrubs wrinkled from the drive. You good, Elias? He asked, his eyes flicking between us. The air thickened, and I realized Marcus knew maybe not everything, but enough. He's good, I said, my voice steady, and Elias squeezed my hand under the table. A silent thank you. That night, Elias told me the rest. His family had cut him off when he came out. His ex had cheated, and he'd been drifting ever since, afraid to plant roots. I don't want to mess this up, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. You're the first thing that's felt like home. I pulled him close, promising myself I wouldn't let him go, no matter what came next. The weeks that followed were a blur of small, perfect moments: morning coffee, late night talks, his sketches piling up on my table. But the world outside kept pressing in. Elias's sister called again, begging him to come home, to face his family. They're trying, she said, but he wasn't ready. I didn't push, but I saw the toll it took. The way his smile faltered when he thought I wasn't looking. One night, he broke. I can't keep running, he said, tears streaming down his face. I held him, letting him unravel, promising him we'd figure it out together. The next day, he booked a bus ticket to the Bronx. I need to do this, he said, and I nodded, even as my heart screamed for him to stay. The day he left, we stood on the balcony one last time, the city alive below us. I'm coming back, he promised, his hand in mine. I kissed him, pouring everything I couldn't say into Ethiop. Fear, love. As he walked away, duffel bag slung over his shoulder, I felt the weight of his absence already. Weeks passed, and Elias kept his promise. He called every night, his voice a lifeline across the distance. He was rebuilding, slowly, with his family, with himself. When he finally came back, he wasn't the same man who'd crashed on my couch. He was stronger, sure, and when he kissed me, it felt like a beginning. We're still figuring it out, too messy. Imperfect people trying to build something real. But every night, when his smile lights up my apartment, I know it's worth the trouble. Love, I've learned, isn't about being fearless. It's about choosing to show up, even when you're scared, and trusting someone to catch you when you fall.